What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today is Tuesday, August 16th, day 42 inside the Big Brother house. It was veto meeting day, but before we get into that, just two cool little announcements. We have some birthday messages. So we had one yesterday and one today. Quan, Amani, happy birthday to the two of you. And you know what? Here's a little birthday song for you. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. Okay, let's get into the update. Seriously, though, happy birthday to the two of you. It was veto meeting day today, and yesterday was a wild one. If you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out, because there was a lot to go over. It was very back and forth, scrambling all over. A lot of different agendas, and the leftovers were really kind of starting to come out. Cracks are forming, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, especially with the new twist coming up where the house is going to split in half. But we started the day off actually with Kyle and Alyssa having a little conversation that maybe might have put just a little sliver of doubt into Kyle on whether or not he actually should have used the veto today. So he asked her straight up. He's like, "Hey, listen, like you didn't tell anybody that we boinked, right?" She's like, no, never. We know, and Kyle knows this is a straight lie. Within 5 minutes of finding out from Alyssa, Turner went and told Kyle, he's like, "Hey, man, I'm not supposed to know this, but I know it, and like I know you guys boinked. That's dope." In typical Turner fashion, like, that's dope. So Turner knows about it. Not only did he tell Kyle about it, he kind of insinuated it to Monte, who I wasn't sure picked it up at first, but today Monte actually talked to Taylor about the situation. And then late last night, Turner was like, "Oh yeah, Joseph, they boinked." So pretty much I think the whole leftovers know. I'm not 100% sure if Michael and Brittany know just yet, but it definitely is something that's spreading around the house. So the main point of this, though, is Alyssa straight up lied to Kyle, like right to his face. She could have been like, "Yeah, I told Turner," and like that would have been fine. Perfectly fine. There's almost no reason to really even lie to him about it, especially when you know this house, it's going to get out, right? So he got lied to straight to his face, and I think that may have put a little doubt into him. He's like, maybe I use it. Because this gives him a chance to be like, "Hey, she goes up. I thought it was going to be Monte. You know, Taylor promised me she was putting up Monte. She did this to mess with me, and then when she gets voted out and sent to jury, your hands are clean, right? Like, you didn't know. Yes, you backdoored your showmance, but it, wasn't intentional." But he did obviously use the veto, or excuse me, not use the veto to make sure that Alyssa is protected. And apparently during the meeting, like, Taylor like really acted like shocked and kind of pissed off about it. And what's really amazing about this, though, is Taylor had informed Jasmine before the meeting. So she was like, "Yeah, like, it's not going to be used, so I don't have any choice." And then after the meeting, Kyle told Jasmine, he's like, "Look, I told Taylor. I told her I wasn't going to use it, so that was all an act." So Kyle thinks this is, saving face with Jasmine, throwing Taylor under the bus, being like, "She knew and she acted like that. Can you believe it?" But really what he's kind of doing there is actually setting it up where it's kind of just confirming to Jasmine, Taylor and Kyle are in a big alliance, right? At least they're working together, right? That they know what's going on. So he did this last night as well, where he kept telling Taylor, "Hey, like, I'll take the heat for this. I'm the one not using it. You can just be like, I told him to use it and he didn't. So it blows up, in my face. Like, I don't care if I take heat with them. I'm not getting their votes anyway at the end of this game." But in reality, all he's been doing is trying to deflect from that. Immediately after his conversation last night with Taylor about not using it, he went down to the girls and expressed how, like, yeah, like, I'm getting weird vibes from Taylor, and I'm thinking, like, I don't know if it's a good idea to use it. Like, I want to use it on you, Indy, but I don't know if it's a good idea. Who then immediately went and told Taylor. That was a big thing that happened last night. So instead of Kyle actually being like, yeah, let me take the heat, he continues to try and throw Taylor under the bus for it. And I really think this is something that's going to bite him in the end. It's going to catch up with him. And there's some more stuff he did later on to try and continue to drive wedges in the leftovers. And I think this is all going to come and hurt him in the end. Indy and Terrance, they're both kind of over it now at this point. They are, completely just distraught that they're still on the nomination block. And on top of that, they have their punishments to deal with. Indy's, I think, still doing her performances. We still have not seen one on the live feeds, which kind of suck. I wish we would get at least to see it, one or two of them. I understand they want to kind of keep it for the episode, but come on and show us. They weren't showing Terrance's tattoo process because he's been continuing to get more and more of his tattoos. It's going to be 182 of them in total, which some of them are really good. He's gotten like a Zing bot one. He's got he's got a lower back tattoo that says, "But first." So Big Brother has gone and they've made a bunch of custom tattoos for him to put on. They're really good. He's got face tattoos now. So there's a bunch of like Big Brother inside jokes and throwbacks all over his tattoos. I hope at one point they like release all of the tattoos that they did. That would be like a really fun like little thing that you could buy on like the Big Brother store, like all the temporary tattoos. Like, make it happen, BB. Like, you're leaving money on the table if you don't do this. But that all kind of continued. A drone actually flew over the backyard today as well. That caused a lockdown. Everybody had to go back inside. No message or anything on it. I think it probably just someone who lives in the area was like, oh, I got a drone. Hey, the Big Brother house is going on. Let's fly the drone over there or whatever, right? So I don't think anything was really happening, but they did kind of lock things down, send everybody back inside. When that happened, there was a couple of things that went down. So inside the house, Alyssa and Kyle were kind of chilling, and once again, he's done this a couple of times where he almost tries to like end things with Alyssa, but then it just ends up being like a stronger bond afterwards. that boy is whipped. He was like, yeah, I don't know, like, is this really a good idea? Like, obviously, like, we can do stuff outside the house, but like, maybe we should, distance ourselves. How did this end? They boinked again. They boinked again, and he only lasted 10 seconds. Alyssa's like, I feel great. I'm in such a better mood. He's like, I'm not. I only lasted 10 seconds. It was a thing, and they've officially made themselves boyfriend and girlfriend. So that's on the table as well. Taylor and Joseph finally got their punishment as well. They're now chained together for 48 hours, and their outfits are a play on Sid and Nancy, very famous couple in the punk rock scene. Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols, and Nancy, who was really, I guess, kind of a groupie, and they formed this big relationship. It's actually not a very nice story in the end. It's tragic, in fact, ends terribly. Both had many demons in their life, but they were like good for each other, but they were destructive, and it just ended poorly. It's a little weird that that's the theme they kind of went with for this, but it's where they did what they did. So they're going by Skid and Francie. The costumes look great. They look amazing. And they also have to speak an accent. So Joseph has to speak in a British accent because Sid Vicious was British. So he's doing his fake British accent, which is, it's It's not great. It's not great. And he keeps like doing things where he'll try and use like British phrases where he tried to say, oh, that's bullocks. But instead he was like, I wanted to say that was Bullwinkle. So that's not really a great accent. And I have a bone to pick with the producers. So they have Taylor speaking an accent because Nancy actually wasn't British, but she did kind of develop a little, Britishisms in her accent since she ended up being with Sid. And they have Taylor doing a New York accent. Nancy wasn't from New York. She was from Philly. Trust me, I think I'm a little bit of an expert on this. So, come on. What do you... Producers, maybe look it up. Maybe just look it up. That's all you got to do is look it up. So they have to speak in the accents. They're chained together. They got all these like crazy outfits. They gave them even pajamas to wear as well, which is totally punk rock, right? Like they're punk rockers. Yeah, they got sleepwear. Did you know that? So that's a thing as well. Kyle, later on in the day, he actually... So we talked about this yesterday where when Kyle and Michael were kind of talking about the whole, veto situation where Kyle kind of went like, hey, like you, Michael and Taylor, you guys were like the last ones brought in. And he full on kind of laid it out for Michael today where he was like, yeah, no, the four of us guys, me, Monte, Joseph, and Turner, we all formed up on Joseph's birthday before we brought you guys in. So just putting it out there that you should know about this. And I really kind of see all of this stuff blowing up in Kyle's face eventually. Michael might end up being more aligned with Kyle now, seeing that maybe that there's something else going on. They want to pull in Turner, but Turner actually had a conversation with Kyle. They were playing pool. I was like, yeah, do you think anybody's going to take a shot at the 7 like before we get to 7? He's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe somebody could. And Turner's like, nah, no. And he said, besides, I feel like anybody who does that kind of thing with their alliance and tries to take a shot, they're either clipped the next week or they're, taken out right away afterwards. So definitely not a good idea if you're in the alliance. So Turner like shut it down completely. I really wish we could get more of an insight on Turner and where his head's at. But I honestly, I think it's as simple as this. Turner is a very simple guy. He wants the leftovers, final 7, and he wants Jasmine out of the house. Those two things, and I think Turner is very happy. But it's definitely interesting to see, especially with this upcoming week and this new twist that's coming, is what's going to happen. I really feel strongly that at least 1 leftover is going to go in this new twist, possibly 2, depending on how the lines are drawn, and it's really going to be interesting to see what happens not only with that week, but afterwards when they come back together, and if one of the leftovers leaves, that other group is going to say, wait, what happened? Especially if they have the numbers. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all kind of plays out. The night ended really with the leftovers kind of all hanging out together up in the HOH room. There wasn't really a lot of game talk, but overall they were just kind of chit-chatting. Indy is the target to be going home. I think it's pretty much set in stone. Like, they're going to send her. She's the one who's more of a threat in competitions, and Terrance is not really that big of a worry for them at all. There's still talk that Indy might quit and not go to jury if she's voted out. But I don't see that happening. If you quit and you don't go to jury, you forfeit all of your money that you've already earned, anything like that. And I'm not 100% sure, but there might even be like fines involved where you have to pay production back on stuff. But at the very least, any of the money that you would have earned from being there, you're going to forfeit that. So why? So I think that's all just kind of her just being mad and complaining. They did also talk about how Jasmine's very annoying, especially with her stealing food. So there was, I think, at least 2 bags of Lay's that Taylor had gotten that Jasmine pretty much just took. She just yanked them. There was some granola. There was a bunch of stuff. And Jasmine not only took it, but she has them like hidden in spots. So they sent Turner down on like a secret mission to head on down there and steal it back. I love watching Turner in the house. He's 100% become my favorite house guest right now. And if anyone can pull off a win, and I'm not 100% sure how he gets there, he's shown that he is pretty good at a lot of the competitions. He's willing to put his body on the line for the win. And I think he's pretty smart. He's got a really good memory. Some of the house guests, especially in the leftovers, have kind of started to key in on this too. He has this, I'm not 100% sure if it's a world record, but he does all the states, like all 50 states. He can list them off like in order, like really fast. So I think he's got a really good memory. He's got a good ability to probably do well in some of those later competitions that have to do with days and stuff like that. So it would be kind of cool to see him be able to make a run and pull off the win for this whole thing. Other than that, though, that pretty much kind of wraps up everything else that happened on the feeds. But I did want to take a moment to try to just like run through the house guests and maybe see if we can kind of gauge where they are as far as loyalties, where that could help us kind of figure out when the group split what could happen. First off, we'll start just at the top of the pyramid that I have set up. By the way, I forget who suggested this in the comments, but somebody said it would be nice if I kind of arrange them in a pyramid with the HOH up top, the 2 nominees, and everybody else below that. So, Taylor, I think for her strongest loyalty, I think, is still to Michael and Brittany. But she is getting a lot closer with Joseph. I think this 48 hours of them being together is going to build their bond even stronger. They have to sleep in the same bed. They have to shower pretty much at the same time. I'm not 100% sure how they pulled that off tonight. In previous years, they've been connected by the wrist. So like when they were in the shower, like one person could just kind of reach their hand over the shower door. This one, they're literally attached to the hip. So I'm not 100% sure if they're how they able to accomplish that, but they did. So I think this is definitely going to be even more of a bonding experience for Taylor and Joseph to get together. She's been getting close with Monte as well. They formed a really nice friendship. Especially, it's nice to see with how anti-Taylor was. Anti-Monte. How Monte was so anti-Taylor. That's the way you say that. In the beginning of the game, he was very much, if Paloma was Taylor's biggest hater, Monte was right underneath. So it's been really nice to see them kind of grow as friends. And for him to kind of see, he's like, yeah, I was dumb listening to all them in the beginning of the game. So for Taylor, I think with the Kyle situation now, that has really driven a wedge between the two of them. So if the two of them ended up in the same group, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe someone took a shot at the other, depending on how the rest of the house is laid out with those groups. She also has a pretty good relationship with Turner. They don't really talk a lot of game, but they do get along really well, and I enjoy when Turner's kind of hanging out with anybody. I'm gonna be a little honest there. I'm a little biased. It just seems like he always has a good time with the people he's hanging out with. Right underneath them, we can kind of talk about the 2 nominees. With Jasmine, it's with Indy, I should say, it's Jasmine and Alyssa. Those are her 2 big allies. She kind of has a thing going with Joseph and Monte, but to be honest with you, I feel like that's a little bit more one-sided, where the guys were just trying to make sure that if she won HOH, wouldn't be coming after them. And right now, they're just at the point where it's like, yeah, well, why keep Indy when we can just get rid of her and Terrance isn't a threat? So she should be leaving this week, no problem. Terrance, I'm going to be honest, he's really got nobody. He's really got nobody. He's got a final two with Jasmine, which I'm not bringing up the alliance chart just yet because I want to make a new one for this week. I'm going to work on that today to get that all ironed out. I like doing it after the veto ceremony is finished. He has a final two with her. But otherwise, he's really alone in the house, especially once Indy leaves. You might see him just even more isolated because Alyssa's very tight with Kyle, so he doesn't really have a great relationship with her. And other than Jasmine, I just don't see anywhere for him to really be aligned. Kyle, it's Alyssa at this point. It's his number one. There was, the stuff we talked about earlier where he was a little shaky. She lied to his face. But he's got them puppy dog eyes. He's looking at her like she's, the greatest thing on earth. And they're now officially boyfriend and girlfriend. So that's something to look out for as well. As far as his relationships in The Leftovers, he is working Michael and Brittany hard. Very hard. Michael, I think, is a little bit more building into the idea that, hey, maybe it is a good idea to go with Kyle when the thing splits. But for the most part, I think Brittany and Michael are really kind of staying right in the middle of there. As for Turner, he feels like he has a good relationship with him and that he can trust him, but he also doesn't know where he stands because when all the stuff was happening with whether to use the veto or not, Turner really didn't have his back when they had the full group discussions, and he thought he was going to have Turner support in there. As far as Alyssa goes, again, it's with Kyle, though she has lied to him multiple times, and he just doesn't seem to want to kind of even admit it. And she does also have strong bonds with Jasmine and Indy, but with Indy leaving, it's going to be kind of Kyle, Alyssa, and Jasmine as kind of her in her head, like a trio there. I almost said threesome, and that would be weird. With Terrance, there's not much of a bond there that we kind of talked about already. As for Jasmine, she, I think, realizes now, like, she can't really trust any of them in the house except for maybe Alyssa now at this point, but even that might be a bit of a stretch. But yeah, after losing Indy, I think Jasmine's going to be a wreck in there. And if it was me, I'm dragging Jasmine to the end. That's an easy layup for the win if you get to the final two with her. Now we can head down to the bottom row there. Brittany and Michael, I briefly mentioned with Kyle. They kind of have the Outsiders Alliance and a little three-person thing going there. But I do really think Brittany is more leaning towards being loyal to Taylor, but Michael, I think, is buying into some of the stuff Kyle's talking about. I think the paranoia of just being in the house is really getting to them, and that's definitely something you have to consider when you've been in the house that long, that can eventually get to you. But yeah, I think Michael and Brittany they're tight together, 100%. But where they end up lying as all the cracks continue to form The Leftovers, it's going to be interesting to see. Turner, he is loyal to the 7. He wants the Leftovers to get the final 7. He wants Jasmine out the door. He has a very good friendship with Alyssa. That's been really early on that they formed kind of a nice little bond there. And he's got good relationships with Joseph and Monte. There's a lot of fun times where Turner and Monte end up snacking together. A couple of days ago, they were hanging out in the kitchen, and they had this dip that I think Taylor got into her HOH that she didn't like. So they were just sitting there, and like one would take a dip, pass it to the other. One would take a dip, pass it to the other. So they're really fun to kind of watch and get along. But again, I'm a little biased because I think Turner's fun with everybody he hangs out with. As far as Jasmine, oh man, he just wants to mess with Jasmine and just troll her as much as he can, and that's always good entertainment. I don't know 100% like where he would lie. I think he is the real middle and key member of the Leftovers that's going to be that swing and help whichever side ends up winning the eventual Leftover war. Joseph. So Joseph is an interesting one because here's the thing with him. He has great relationships with almost everybody. Almost everyone in the house loves Joseph. Michael and Brittany know this. Michael and Brittany have seen this. They're aware. They also know how good he is lying to the other side of the house, since him and Kyle ended up forming that kind of fake five swatters alliance that they have going on. So Joseph has done a lot of work to kind of infiltrate that other side, and he's doing it under the whole agenda of gathering information and hiding the leftovers. But for his own personal game, it's fantastic because, again, he's building these bonds that the other leftovers are not. So it's definitely helping his game in the long run. The only problem is, like I said, Michael and Brittany have noticed. I'm sure the others have noticed this as well. So will it eventually make him a very big target once the leftovers have to start turning on each other? That's to be seen. And Monte, he is very close with really a lot of the people in the house, but he has burnt the bridges with the other side, especially Alyssa and Jasmine and Terrance, Indy as well, but Indy's leaving this week, so not much real worry there for him. He stuck his neck out last week by not putting up he stuck his neck out last week by putting up Kyle and Daniel and sending last week wasn't that was Michael. He put up Taylor and Nicole left, and he took a lot of heat from Daniel in that whole situation. But with everybody else in the house, with Taylor, like I said, he's kind of building more of a bond there. I think he would be most loyal to Joseph. He does have a final two with Kyle, but I don't think Kyle is anywhere close to being loyal to that. If Kyle could cut Monte tomorrow, he would. Plain and simple. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of these interconnected relationships and sub-alliances and bonds really form what's going to happen in this new twist that's coming next week. The house is going to be split in half. It's 5-on-5. I assume that Taylor won't be able to play in the HOH for whatever group she's in, so that makes it that 4 people are going to have a chance to win the HOH, and she's going to really probably have to win that veto to lock her in her safety. Only 2 people will be voting in each group, so depending on who wins HOH and veto, that could really change a lot, since the other 2 people are going to be the nominees. And it's very going to be really going to be interesting to see how this all play out. But let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. If you have made it all the way through this video, smash that like button, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video or stream, and subscribe if you are new here and you've enjoyed the content. All the links for my other socials are in the description and a pinned comment down below. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch, which I meant to go live on Twitch yesterday, but I I'll be honest, I took a nap and I fell asleep, and I woke up afterwards and went, shit. But I do want to get Twitch back up and running. I want to get that going, because it's always a lot of fun hanging out with you guys on the lives, which we do here every Thursday. There's an episode tomorrow night. That's where we'll see the veto competition and meeting. And then Thursday's episode, the live eviction episode, is going to be 2 hours long. We'll be here live on the channel doing a watch along for that. First half of it should be just the normal eviction. We'll see Indy be sent to jury. Will she quit? Will she stay? Who knows? Also, kind of interesting with that too. She's in the punishment outfit, the costume, the unitard. It's not really a unitard, but that's kind of, what a lot of us are used to seeing as the costume punishments. And there is, a very long history of people who are in the costumes being sent out the door. So I think we're gonna see another one of those on this Thursday. Indy, when she does leave, will become the first member of the jury, unless she decides to quit and walk away. But that's going to be interesting to see as well. But thank you guys all for watching. Thank you so much for joining me here. I really appreciate all the support I've been shown, and seeing this channel grow and getting to know each one of you more and more. Like I said, links for all my stuff are down below in the pinned comment, Twitter, Twitch. You can join the Discord as well. I actually, since we had the birthdays today, I should make a channel in there so people can post their birthdays and stuff like that, so we can give them shout outs as well. Thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you next time.